Thanks, baby. Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. Hello, everybody. Waiting for things to catch up. Happy Friday. Hope everyone had a great week. It's the end of May, if you can believe that. We have one more day left and then it's June. That's crazy. So, I it was a good day here, warm. I was spent most of the day outside. Um, at the golf course. My boss hosts a golf tournament a couple times a year, and I help watch one of the hole in ones to be a witness in case somebody gets a hole in one. So, spent a long time outside today. So it was a beautiful day. I got a little bit of sun. You can probably see on my arms here. Probably worse from that one. Ooh, yeah, I'm a red there. But anyway, I hope everyone had a great week. I am going to kind of get started right away. We are doing something kind of fun and different. We'll get to the die set that we're going to use here in a minute, but I wanted to start with the mixed media that we are going to use. I grabbed one of the velveteen glazes. I did check to see if this one's in stock, and it is. I forgot to go into get my collection. If you look up Candi's live, you will find it, but I forgot to do that. So let me grab that link. This will have last week and this week's products in it. I'll post that here. But it will have most of the products I'm using and some of the products from last week while I'm still kind of learning the system here. But this velveteen glaze is in stock. The velveteen glazes are being rebranded under Chroma Matte, but I did want to say that so they'll work the same way, but I did want to use this because purple's my favorite color. So we're having some Dino fun tonight. We'll get more into that. So I found the random dots stencil in my stash because since we're kind of having a party theme, this kind of reminded me of a party. Hi, Kate. And my daughter is she's in the airplane in Chicago on her way back. She'll be taking off on her way back to Florida. She's been here for a week. I have some aubergine cardstock. I cut it down to A2 card size and I have it on my stick and stamp mat with the blending buddy. Hi, Mama. How are you? And I'm just going to grab and I'm not using Pixie spray for this because it's a very not too intricate stamp or stencil. And I thought it would just be easier to just do it this way. So I am going to tape it down instead of use my magnets because I want to be able to get that out. I don't want to see that on my screen. 1 second, please. There we go. I want to use my stencil pal. So, Mom, how was planting at the barn today with the little kiddos? Hope you had fun. So, I am just going to take a little bit of this velveteen glaze. This is called grape jam, I believe. Yes. And just put this on. I'm okay with it being a little heavy because I'll just scrape the extra off. And put a little bit more on the side. Okay. Good, Mama. All right, I can hear myself a little bit, so I'm going to turn my TV down. And then I like to try to use a stencil pal whenever I use paste because that light is shining directly on you guys. Let's see if I can get that to go up a little bit higher so it's not quite so in your face. I like to be able to just kind of go and get as thin as possible. When I use my glazes, they dry a little faster. I'm going to scrape the excess off because we don't need a whole lot. Got a couple spots here. We'll throw a little extra on top and do another scrape over. I also try to, and I've said this on other lives, that I like to try to just go one direction. Now, I don't always follow my own rules, but I try. Good. That is fun. I have a strawberry and one strawberry and one tomato already growing. Both of the plants that I planted had those little ones on there and they're getting there. And then I saw my pepper plants are getting flowers and I saw my other strawberry plant because I planted two different types of strawberry plants in my garden is starting to have some flowers. So I'm kind of excited for that. Hi, April. Welcome. Happy Friday. So after I use the velveteen glaze, I like to tap it down just to kind of get some of that extra off. Always keep the white piece when you have your Brutus Monroe because this products like this, because it helps keep them from drying out. You don't need any press and seal. And then I'm just going to grab a fragrance-free baby wipe from the dollar store or whichever store you get them from or wherever you want, and wipe off my stencil and my palette, my knife. I always like to do those with a baby wipe. And my stencil, I have my little stencil bucket off to the side with some of the stencil cleaner and water. And I'm not going to move it because it's right above an electrical wire. I realize that's probably not a good thing, but it doesn't get moved. So it will just sit there. So I'm just going to go ahead and we're going to peel this off. Look at how pretty that is. And then I can save a little bit of this tape if I want. I'm going to just throw it, since I got stud stuff on it. I'll just throw that in there and leave that till I'm ready to go clean at the end of my craft session or whenever I feel like creating. Yes, April, happy Friday. I am very excited it's Friday. It was a busy week. And then for my stick and stamp mat, you can do it either way, but I tend to just kind of, whichever way just feels right, pop it off, grab it, and then because I used my stick and stamp mat, if you notice, I don't have a lot of like icky edges, like sometimes you get where when pastes kind of run over, and it's nice and smooth because it's on the edge of that. Now I'll just put that to the side, and I'm just gonna grab my baby wipe here. Oh, which one's the wet one? So I did do one last night, and very carefully, you can do it two ways. You could put the centerpiece back on, but since I'm not rubbing, just find a clean piece of the baby wipe and I just wipe and kind of wipe off that extra. Now, if I was using a glitter glaze, I'd like to keep a stencil. I like to have an extra stick and stamp mat where I can have for just stenciling, because if I get glitter on it and stuff, it doesn't seem to bother me as much. And then I have one for like stamping and blending, but you can do it however you want. All right, so through the magic of television, this is what it looks like. And it's a nice matte finish. Now this one is cut down just a hair. This one's 4 by 5.25 because I cut it down before I did it. I don't know why, just fine. But today, the other one I did is a little bit bigger. All right. So on to the star of the show tonight. The star of the show tonight is this die set called Prehistoric Pals. This die set is available. It's $5 in the store. I do have it in my collection. And when you get that, you get when you buy this, you get the download for the dies included. And I thought it was really fun. I just printed this out on my Brother laser black and white printer. I do want to tell you that when you print this, you want to print to actual size. I printed it from my phone and my phone did not give me that option. So it didn't print it. It shrunk it. It fit the page. Now, if you notice when I print to actual size, it kind of blew it up a little bit because of the crop marks. When I printed it in from my printer, it's perfect. It's a perfect size. So you want to do actual size. Is it Alicia? Is that how I say that? Thank you. Oh, thanks. I enjoy. We're going to do a little bit of coloring tonight. So thank you for letting me know that. I like making videos. I need to make more instead of just lives. So I'm going to show you kind of how I did that. I do have some pre-colored, so we're not going to do a ton of coloring tonight, but I wanted you to show that you can use alcohol markers with this printer. Now, the first time you do this, you may want to use kind of a scrap piece of paper type. Like I didn't use the most expensive, nice coloring cardstock. Like I wouldn't use my Express It or my Alk Perfect Blend. I just used a 60, 80 pound white cardstock and printed it because I wasn't sure if my printer would let it bleed or not. Cause it all depends on Alicia. Okay. Just wanted to make sure. Alicia. Okay. Thank you. I wanted to make sure the ink wouldn't bleed because there's different types of inks and printers. Mine is like a Brother laser, kind of a standard one that's just black and white. So it doesn't do any color and it was just fine. So I'm just going to grab some markers. We're just going to color up. I think we'll color up this little dinosaur right here. And then I'll kind of show you how I cut these out so that you can put them through your die cut machine. Because obviously this piece, well, first thing you can do, which is what I'm going to do to help, is cut it down because I don't need all this extra cardstock. Like I said, this Prehistoric Pals is the die set, and then you get this printable, which you can print as many as you want. And I was discussing this with one of the other ladies, and I was like, totally worth it, because you could print this off and give it to some kids to color as a coloring sheet. If you're having a dino birthday party, how perfect is that? Or if your kid just likes dinosaurs, like my son one time told me he was going to be a paleontologist, and he was going to live in a trailer, like a motorhome, and go out on the road and do that. And I thought that was just cute. He always loved dinosaurs, but it is a great one to have for just some fun parties. I love that the balloons are like dinosaur eggs. I'll bring this up a little closer so you can see them. So now there are not dies for everything, like the little tinier pieces and the footprints. There are not dies. You would have to either fussy cut them out, or if you have a scan and cut. But there are dies for like the presents, and let's see, the dinosaurs, the cake, the volcano, the balloon. Here are the dies that go with it. So the main images, which I think are the fun parts in particular. All right. So I'm just going to grab some Olo markers and just do some quick coloring. I'm going to just, not a lot of shading. YGs. I like my Olos. We're going to color this guy here. I just think they're a nice marker. I've fallen in love with them a little bit more than my Copics. I don't find them bleeding as much, or erping or burping, or however you want to call it. With you have the, if they get a little, they do sometimes get juicy, but I notice you will see that, where with your Copics sometimes you don't see it. It just all of a sudden it just kind of leaks out. Olos do not do that, or at least they have not for me. If I notice as I'm looking at it and it gets super shiny, I just dab it off on a piece of paper. So, all right, so I'm going to color it with my lightest, and then I'm a dark to light colorer. So we're just going to add a little bit of color, and I'm going to color in a few of these. I'm hoping to make 2 cards tonight. I cut up a few images, and I have one for sure I have planned, but I'm hoping to the other one. And then I'm just going to add some a little bit light coloring, shading around the corners, and then we'll use our medium. You are fine, Penny. That is totally fine. Thank you for doing that. Yeah, I love the Olos. I actually need a few more. I'm very shy on reds. I have 4 reds. I need to order some more reds. That might be on my Christmas list this year. I did this last year finally get the grays, which is a very big help, because I didn't, all my Copic grays dried up. Now I do have some Copics, and I gave a bunch of them to my sister because she does a lot of journaling and art. And so I knew she'd use them up faster than I would, since I have these Olos. But I did keep a few colors to fill in where I'm missing, but I need to start replacing them. So I'm just going to go ahead. Now I will tell you, if you're not confident in your coloring, practice is key. And then the other thing is if you go along these edges, go in through a circle. And when you go in through a circle, right on that edge, that helps feather that out. And then take your next color. I try not to saturate. Oh yes, I wasn't sure at first, and I did fall in love with them. And then I did get them a little while ago. Christopher had them in the store for a little while, and when they first came out, and I know it's something that has been on the agenda, but to possibly come back and restock. But I know we have other coloring mediums, and I've never gone back. And then you just kind of feather it out. But if you do those little circles, you'll notice the lines kind of disappear. They're not gone 100%, but they're not as defined. And I just did it with 2 colors. And then I was always been told, like, if you look at this side, this is how you can tell it's still wet, because it looks wet. Once it kind of dries out, you might still see the marker, but it won't look so wet. So that's pretty saturated. I'm going to leave this. I'm not, oh, we got to color his little hat. We are going to color a different color than the one I did before. I think my reds and my purples tend to be my juiciest. And this one, of course, because it's so dark, it's kind of hard to see if it's going to be extra liquidy. But if you just kind of look at it, sometimes you will see when it gets extra full. And it does not happen very often. Reds more than anything, but I think if you guys all know, reds kind of do that for anyone. And then you just, like I said, I just had an extra piece of paper and just kind of wrote it off on the side or I mark it. So I think we're going to do that. I'm going to actually do pink just because I don't have all my colors here. Oh, no, I don't. This is stars. We're going to do yellow stars. Had a bright yellow. Where is it? So no, it is I have very much fallen in love with. I did not attach my markers. If you've not seen them, Olos come with a little ring and you can attach them so you can choose which colors you want together. I am keeping my colors separate right now because I only have this tip and I'm waiting for the nibs, which I hear are coming, the bullet nibs, and then I can attach them for a longer marker, but this does not bother me. But I know when I attach them together, since I don't have different colors, I wasn't always finding the right color, so this was easier for me. And then I just kind of stand them up. I have two ways. I have a little bin. These are my extras that I don't have. And then my friend Treasure from Blue Sparkle makes also a container. So this would be for like traveling. I have two of these. I am going to get a marker stand eventually for my desk. For them, but for travel, this is perfect because you could add two colors and you can just put the lid on them and then take them to go. And it's from bluesparkle.com. If you are interested in something like that. Okay, so now that I have this done, I'm going to go ahead and what I did is because I didn't worry about my little feet people here so much. What I did when I cut this is I just went in as close as I could, straight as I could, and I just cut it because I'm using my big die cut, my spell binders, and I just cut around them like this, and that seemed to work perfect. We're just going to cut this one out tonight because I have them already done, and you don't want to sit me coloring it. Yeah, Michelle, or April, they're very nice. I can get a link for them and put that in the description box after my live, or I think it's just bluesparkle.com. I do have an affiliate link. Anything I usually link does usually have an affiliate link if I link it or if it's linked in the description box. Penny sometimes will add links to the chats. Those are not if you are not a person that, does that. But if you use my link, it doesn't cost you anything. I do get a little bit of a kickback, but I did want to say that is true because I do need to let people know that because that people need to know that. But I am a brand ambassador, I think, for them. So I have another box that I can show you too that is very nice. And I don't have the embossing powder box. She has an embossing powder box specifically made for Brutus Monroe embossing powders, and I need to order one. But I also have the texture paste box. And the texture paste box fits our 12 of our, and these are either my oldest or my most used pastes. So when I go, I can put them together and then they stack on top of those. So those are nice too. She does have those as well. So I just lined up my die. Now this one is a little bit different. These are a little different. They kind of line up kind of perfect. I try to be no problem, April. Like I said, I appreciate it. Some people, and I understand that. I just like to make sure people know that. Yes, the embossing one. I worked with her to get that one. Like I gave her some different embossing powders when I was with her, and because I had some extras. I just haven't had a chance to order it yet. I do need to get it on order because when I travel, I always bring my big old containers like this, and they just take up so much room. Not that I travel that often, but so it just kind of eyeball it and line it up so that I know, and I know sometimes when we line up, our dies are perfect. You can see a lot of the white edge. This one is a little bit cut a little bit closer. So, take your time if that's something that really is important to you. I just kind of line it up so that I can see the black edges and eyeball it and kind of look all around, and then I tape it in place. So let me cut this out quick. and we'll get started card making. All right. Because I wanted to show you how I cut the sentiments out when I did this. So then it's perfect. Yes, blue sparkle, no E. Thank you very much, Penny. That works. That's perfect. And like I said, so there's the Olo marker box. She has a box for travel for the glue press. She makes a perfect press. Then I also have a box that she has for, there's a lot of other travel type boxes. That's a, they can be for organization. I have one for my distress oxides too, on the other side of the room. So how I did this is I actually die cut this piece out, but I'm going to go ahead and just cut it for right now so you can see what I did before. I'm going to cut it out and I'll die cut that out later. What I did is I cut all of my pieces and I had all my little holes in them like this. So let's pretend these are cut out. And then how I lined this up to cut this is I just went ahead and I went in and I cut the first one. I lined up the top edge of this with my the white or the plastic, but because of what we're doing tonight, this one I'm going to cut just a little bit closer. So I'm just eyeballing it and I'm just cutting that up edge, and then I can go ahead and cut the next part off. So I just kind of cut it. I'm going to line up the top of my words with my plastic piece that you guys can't probably see that. And then I'm ready for that to cut up. Now, because I didn't die cut these out, I'm not going to cut these out. I'm not using these tonight, so we're going to put that aside. I'm just going to finish cutting this one. And I'm just cutting this kind of close. And I will show you why I'm cutting this so close this time tonight. And when I do that and I want it to be a little closer, I just kind of like I said, eyeball it. Try to get my letters to line up with something so they look like the same amount of letter, same amount of the letter from the M to the I are sticking out, because I want this cut very close for our purposes tonight. So there, I got it. It's a nonstop party. It's a Jurassic jam. And if it's not cut perfectly straight, which it's close, this time, I'm not going to worry about it because of what we're going to do with this one. Maybe we can line it up just a hair more. Cut that off. There we go. Cut that little extra piece off. Okay. So, and my friend Treasure Blue Sparkle is just a small company in Minnesota. So I've known her for quite a few years, and I love these little boxes, so I'm excited for them. All right, so here now for our card. I thought our first card is going to be a little bit more intricate. I wanted to go ahead and this was a freebie, and there are a few left on the website. If I can find the cover piece so you can see it, we are going to use the reveal die. Okay, so the reveal die there's two. There's this one, and then there's the small one. And what I did is I took a piece of white paper. I cut it down to the size I wanted. So it's on the other side. I'll show it to you. This is the A2 size. This one right here is A2 size. This one underneath, which would be like my card base, which I'll show you that here, we'll do that in a minute. But I wanted to make myself a template. Yes, yep. The embossing powder fits the Brutus Monroe embossing ink pads, the Brutus Monroe embossing powder containers, and you should be able to put your anti-static powder bag in there and a tweezers, I believe. I cut the other piece down to 4 by 5 1/4. So I'm going to show you that. And then I die cut it out. So this is my template. So what I did is once I cut it out to the less than card base size, which of course I have a white card base, so that's going to be hard for you to see. But I lined it up so now you can kind of see that it's just short. And then I lined up where I wanted, and I used the big one, because you could use this now with any of your sentiments that are long. I decided the long one is the one I wanted because it fits it's nonstop party. It's a Jurassic jam. because this one's a little too short, and I die cut it out, and then I just took it and actually just tore it straight off. So here it is like this. I just tore it straight off. That's why it's, because it's just a sample. I just wanted to make sure it fit. Now we're going to use this to put our sentiment down and line up our other one. So what I do is we're going to take our card base. I'm going to use a couple magnets here to hold it down. And my sentiment is coming from the birthday pal set. And I wanted to show you that the birthday pal set has all of these sentiments, and then it has this die that cuts them all out. And of course it also has all these, including a cute little dinosaur. And then you can cut them all out at once. And all I did was pop out the one I needed, and I left the rest in here so you'd see them, but it cuts them all out at once. And I'm just going to stick that back in there because I don't need them. And the one I got was Hope Your Birthday is Dynamite. And there's all the other little images. So you can use that. And then I'm going to use my little template here to line this up directly on my card. And then because that's such a big stamp, I can't obviously, if it was just a sentiment, I could obviously line it up on my Misty and stamp it. But because it's not, I had to, and I cut it out and it's on a strip. See, here's all my little figurines already done. Then we're just gonna go ahead and we're gonna glue it in place. Okay, so I'm just gonna grab a little bit of liquid glue if I can find my glue press. Now I'm worried that my dog got a hold of my glue press because it's not on my desk. Uh-oh. Sometimes he plays with stuff, but I can't believe I must have put it up somewhere thinking he was going to maybe get a hold of it. Oh, yep, I did. See, nothing to worry here. Nothing to see. I have been, because I use Barely Arts glue in my thing, I tend to keep my cap on when I'm not crafting for multiple periods at time. Okay, so I'm just going to use a little bit of liquid glue. I don't need a lot. And I'm going to just kind of push it with my fingers, and then I'm just going to line it up right in the middle. Okay. And then we're going to take our template off. This will be our base. So that's going to be right underneath. And we're going to take this. Yes, glue and scissors. Here's my template again. We're just going to line it back up. And I'm going to go ahead and put my die right in place. And I'm going to tape it down because this is an 8. Like I said, this is just shy. It's 4 by 5 1/4. And we're going to run this through my die cut machine. I'm actually using an extra piece of tape here. And because, for the most part, this is very, very thin paper. Like, look at this. This is more than copy paper, but it's not. I bought the wrong paper once when I was buying some white paper a long time ago, and I'm slowly using it up. But it's my scrap paper, so that when I'm not sure what I want to, if it's going to work, or if I'm just playing around, I can just use that. And so I made my template. Or like if I'm making a fun fold for the first time, I use this so that I have my template on. So I have my die cut machine here. And I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to run it through twice. Because, hi, Kenny, I'm excited that it's your live tonight. Oh, thank you, Susan. Yes, no, I really do enjoy them. I encourage people to try them if they want. The thing, I mean, I'm not an expert in them. I have not had to refill any yet. I've had mine for over a year. Not that I do a ton of coloring anymore, but I haven't had any issues with them drying out. I guess I'm talking. I've cut it through a few times, but that worked. See, you can even turn it over and see. They've just been very nice, and I like them. It took a little bit of a learning curve for me because I did learn on Copics to get used to them, especially because the colors, the numbers are. But I have found, and I'm gonna reiterate, I took a class with Kathy Rakusin, who's a great coloring. She does a daily marker challenge every once in a while. It's been a while since she's done that. And she just encourages you to color pluck. That I just take colors that I think are fun and they look close and they use them, and I make them. And if it doesn't work, I just grab another one, and it's just paper. So, you can always throw that away. So here's now, you can kind of see, I'll show it over this way. There's my reveal. So now the key to this is you don't want any glue here. So I am going to use my adhesive tape runner for this one because I'm going to put this down here because it won't leak over. And I can just put that to the top, to the bottom, and then you could probably put a little bit right there if you wanted to. But I'll show you. I'm going to get up closer here. I'll put it up, bring it up a little closer, but so you can kind of see by the shininess. I skipped that whole area. And then if I did this right and I arrange it properly, it should just go right over and I can kind of look at it. But because I use that template, it should be good. And I'm just going to line it all up. Doesn't look like I cut that edge very well. Oh well. So now we have our base, and this is our little reveal. You would pull it, and the recipient can pull it. So you might want a little pull on here, but I think if you looked at it, you could understand it, or you could tell them. You could also, if you wanted to, for fun, just put the glue here, 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 and down here, and stick a gift card or some money in there. And then they could pull that, and that would be fun too. You wouldn't even have to do a full card. You could do just a card panel. And so then we're just going to go ahead and decorate our little dino guy. So I think we're going to pop him up, and let's grab some foam tape. Now if I don't use it, I won't tell people anything about it because that's not the is. And in all honestly, even if it's something I'm not a fan of, it just might be just not a fan for me. So I like to use what I like because of whatever reasons. I'm not opposed to ever saying if I've had issues with the thing. So like I was talking about my glue press. Love my glue press. Absolutely love it. I love that Eliana came out with it. I took forever to decide to get one and put it off and put it off. And because I loved my Barely Arts glue, I just love it. And I finally broke down and got one last fall. And have not looked back since. I used up my glue. I used it so much at the beginning that I used my glue up. You don't use a lot of glue, but I used it up. So then I filled it and I had some issues with it clogging, but I found like right now it's not sitting in there properly. So I know it's leaking glue. I see that it's leaking glue. But what I found is that it's because it's the Barely Arts glue was a little bit thicker and it was kind of the drier time here in my house. We do heat wood stove in the winter. So it was a little drier in the house. It clogged because of that, because of the thickness of the glue. So I just took the cap off. So you can see it's leaking a little bit because I didn't have it on right. I just took the cap off and soaked this in hot water and it was perfect. And then I made sure I rinsed this really, really well. Cause like I said, I have glue that leaked out because I didn't sit on there. That is kind of a key, is making sure when you put it in there. I'm going to cover mine for right now just because I got that glue on there and I need to rinse that now. So I will soak that and get that glue out of there and that will help it. So I'm struggling for a couple of lives. That's why I wanted to be upfront about that. So we're gonna go ahead and put our little dino guy in here. And then for our sentiment, this is gonna go right on top. I think that's fun. I wanted to do it right here. You could just leave it blank. You could put a pull. I'm just gonna do It's a Nonstop Jurassic Party. And I'm gonna go ahead and put that on because it's when they tear it off, that's just gonna come straight off. If you want me to tear it, I will, but if it's okay if I don't, I mean, we'll tear it. We can tear it and show it how it works because I can make a second one. And then I'm just going to grab some other pieces. I did cut some other pieces to finish this off, and then we can make a second card if we have time. I think I'm going to grab, let's see here. I got all these little pieces out that I cut. So I've got some birthday presents. Thinking we might just do the birthday presents. You know, put them on top of one another like this. We've got our little balloons. So let us stick them all down. Let's see here. With the red ones, I think we'll put the purple one on top. And then I'll put the balloons back below. but my balloons are sticking off a little bit. So what I think I'm going to do is we're going to trim this down so that I can tuck it in, and you'll never know that I did that little, because I can stick them and you won't see that. So we're going to glue this down first. And I do like to tend to use some liquid glue when I have things like pastes, just because I feel like the velveteen glaze would be fine, but like glitter glaze and stuff like that and chroma glaze tend to be a little bit more textured. And so sometimes you need that little bit of extra. Let's throw a couple magnets on there. And then we will glue ours down. Today is the last day for the CYOE challenge on the Brutus Monroe fan club page. It is florals. So I will, you need to have your card or project in tonight, because tomorrow I will I'm going to try to remember to do it tomorrow, to go through. It depends on how my Saturday goes, 'cause I usually try to spend the day in the morning with my puppy, and we've got some people coming tomorrow. So, but I am going to maybe draw that tomorrow. So if you can get, and I will go back by looking at postage too, or post date too, but it is floral and it is a random draw. So that means you don't have to have any fancy skills. You can be a beginner or an expert. 2 projects, and you need to use 1 Brutus Monroe product. You post it in the Brutus Monroe fan club page and use the hashtag CYOE challenge, and I will enter your name into the drawing, and you could possibly, for the random draw, win a $25 store credit to the store. So going to put that up, and then there is our fun little card. So, and I mean, obviously I did a lot of the coloring off, and then like I said, do you guys want me to pull it or do you want me to leave it? You guys decide. I'm going to leave it for a minute and you guys tell me, should I pull it so you can see what I'm talking about, or leave it? Okay. Well, I kind of organized myself here a little bit for the next. I'm going to make one more card here yet. Thank you, Cindy. Like I said, if you guys want me to, I will pull it. And then I'm just going to keep this template in with my, and you can see, because it's just mostly for placement, not that I can't make another one. Thank you, Kate. I love purple. And I'm going to keep it in with my die set, which I don't have handy right now, the envelope for this one, but I'm going to just put this in with my die set, and then I have that if I need it. So I'm going to put that off to the side right now so I don't lose it. Leave it. Okay, leave it so I can gift it. Okay, I will leave it. Thank you. It is fun. I mean, it's fun to be able to figure out what other things you could put underneath there. Like I said, if you go through your sentiment strips and you can just put your die over the top, which is what I did. I just went and I took it and I went like this, and I'm like, okay, if it's going to be on top, as long as you can see it, even you see it under the teeth, it will be on top. But if it's, and then when it's here, this one is already, that was the one that's, so I can see it inside, then I knew it would fit inside the zipper. So, and there's, like I said, both different sizes. So that is fun. There are a few left in stock if you want them. And of course, there's some other items that go with it. We have the birthday card, birthday jokes reveal sheets that you could do. Christopher did a video on these. Thank you. I will leave it where you can, and it gives you the answer. And there were some that were colored and some that were, that you could color in. Okay, for my second card, I need a card panel. You guys know me, I like to work on card panels instead of bases. We are going to do a little bit of ink blending. I found this, I think this was still in stock. There might have only been a couple left, but this is the Jungle Canopy. Any stencil will work. I just thought it would be fun to do this. And instead of pastes this time, we're just gonna do a little ink blending. Now this one's a little bit more intricate. So this is one that I would probably use pixie spray for. So let's do that quick. I'm just gonna spray it off camera here a minute. And and let it kind of sit. It doesn't have to be perfect. I'm so heavy-handed with the pixie spray. Let it dry. And I am going to go ahead and use my magnets to kind of hold it in place too. And then I have these two pieces here. And then I also pulled, because I put this in there, that I grabbed I think if you're going to make birthday cards, I will tell you, run and grab this happy birthday collection. The pattern papers are fabulous. And then if you have the birthday box, or if you bought that, the die will cut these strips out, or you can cut all the people and you won't have to color them. You obviously could fussy cut these if you just had the paper and you didn't have that. And these obviously you could use a paper trimmer for. But I think it's a fun one. And I pulled this out because I liked this green. And I'm going to just grab, I'm not sure which green that is, but I think we're going to go with Viper. It looks close enough. And we're just going to add some more color. And I'm not going to do this whole thing. I just thought it'd be fun to add a little bit of the leaves because, you know, the jungle leaves kind of remind me of dinosaurs. I'm going to go a little heavy-handed in the corner and kind of just blend it down gently. And let it fade off. Get a little darker right in here. And this will be a fairly simple card, but I just think it's kind of fun to try to make a couple anyway, using the stamp sets. And then for the big reveal, 1, 2, 3, go. That's so fun. And I'm not even going to put that in my stencil thing because it's not, I mean, you could just leave it like that and go ahead and put your little dinosaur in here. But I think I wanted to add, so it is a little bit of a different green, but it works for me. And I'm just going to go ahead and chop it. I mean, chop up your paper. I think I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to cut it down about, I'm going to cut it in, I like to cut my pattern paper into 3 inches because then I can make a mini slimline card with it. I may cut it down a little bit further. I'm going to go ahead and put it on here and see. And I said it covers up quite a bit for me. So I think I'm going to cut it down 1 more inch. So I wanted to show you my process that you don't always have to cut it the first time perfectly, because then you have options. You could do it this way, or I could grab this and do it this way, which I think this is what I'm going to like. I'm kind of liking, but I want to add this a little bit more. I want a pop of color, and the pop of color is going to be this purple. And instead of, I don't know if I want to, no, instead of aubergine, I'm going to grab some potion. And I'm just going to see if I have a piece here that's kind of cut that size. And we're going to pop this green piece right on her. So this was 1 inch, I said, right? So it's 1 inch by 6 because it's a 6 by 6 paper pad. But my card panel is not. So what we're going to do, we're going to cut, this is 5.5. So I'm going to cut this down to 4 1/4. So that because I only need, you know, this much of it. Then I'm going to go ahead and cut it at 1 1/4 inch. Because I want a little bit more of that purple showing from it. And then I'm going to let it go off the edge. So we're going to do it just like that. So I am going to go ahead and put, because this is not going to be enough of a scrap of paper for me to keep. I am being good about that. Trying to get rid of the pieces of paper I don't need. And I'm just going to put it up to the edge on this side. Eyeball it so that the purple is the same on both sides. This green and purple is really fun together, actually. And try to be as straight as possible. I think the heat is kicking in to me because everything's looking straight, but you know me, I can't do anything. So this is where you could put it here, but I really like that, having that leaf print thing right here. So we're just going to put it on here, and I'm going to line this up. And then this is the other option. We could cut this down, which is I think I'm going to do, and mat it on the purple as well, just to bring that purple in a little bit more. So I'm going to cut a little bit of the top off. I'm going to cut about half or a quarter, an eighth of an inch off the top. And I'm going to cut an eighth of an inch off the bottom so that it's a little bit more. And then the same thing here. I'm going to cut a little bit more than an eighth of an inch off here. And I'm eyeballing it. And then a little, the last of it, make that small enough so we have that. Okay. And then when I put it on my paper, we'll have that purple border as well here. Okay, so let's get that done. Sometimes when you're making cards, we can sit and I feel like we can overthink things. And for a long time, I was doing some pre-recorded videos on my YouTube channel called a sketch, a stamp, a stencil and a stamp. I would grab one. It didn't matter if it was from whatever company I was using. I tried to use a stencil from that company and a stamp, you know, and so like this stencil and this stamp. And I would just create a couple of cards, one card or a couple of cards using just those, because I thought that was a good way to practice stretching. You didn't need a lot of supplies. You needed some ink, some cardstock, a blending tool of some sort, probably a coloring tool, you know, but you didn't need embossing powders and embossing folders and all this other stuff. It was just a little bit of cardstock and some stenciling, and I really enjoyed it. So I do feel like getting back to that when I have some fun free time, just to make it, they're kind of simple, but yet they're not. And just adding that little punch of pattern paper or that extra color makes such a big difference. So there's the basis of our card. And then we've got our great purple dinosaur. And we've got our little, so this is where we have some options because I had another piece and I used all the other fun things on here. But I have both of these fun dinosaurs, and I have the cake. And actually, I'm kind of thinking I like it with the cake. And I think I like it with both dinosaurs kind of looking at the cake. So I think that's what I'm going to do. And then we got to have some sort of sentiment. And I'm actually going to steal from my thing. And I think we're going to use that same thing. It's a nonstop party. It's a Jurassic Jam. So let's get that down. I think we're going to pop these up too. I think all of these need to be popped up. So the new release, the new subscription products will be released on June 1st. So you will be seeing us switching over to some of those products here very shortly. I'm excited. It'll be very fun. The design team was just told not too long ago, showed kind of more of the sample or the theme and everything. And so I know everyone's really excited. So I hope you guys are excited too. Christopher showed some information about it and a live a couple of weeks ago. And I know Jess showed the new, since there isn't a die of the month right now, and there'll be a new, I don't remember exactly the name of what it was called, but she shared it on the live on Wednesday. It's like a premium stamp. It's kind of hard to explain exactly what it's called without listening to it again, but I know they're going to be an email about, so watch your emails for that so that you can sign up for that for this next month. I'm just cutting some of these down here. And, oh, I better put a little piece here on his neck, and then we need a teeny tiny piece on the hat. Well, yeah, they do tend to go up a little bit. Yeah, I wasn't going to say anything, April. It is very fun. I'm super excited. I don't think everything is, though. I think maybe some of the pictures are there because it starts switching over. Those that kind of know, but I know the other stuff that is coming with it is amazing. So it will be amazing. So I'm really fun. It's one of my favorite times of year for the release because we have a release like this. and I have been saving them. So, all right, so we're gonna go ahead and glue these down. And it's nice to be able to go in and kind of peek at them and decide, you know. All right, let's see. We're gonna put these placement, this guy down. I think we're gonna put the cake up here. We're gonna let it kind of float. And then we'll put our little things here. Yeah, it is a good, it's fun. So tomorrow I am I am very sad my daughter has left to go home. I miss her, but it was great to see her. We had a great visit. I'm gonna put these guys up a little bit because we're gonna put the sentiment, I think, down below them. Yeah, I'm gonna put the sentiment down right directly below them and under their feet. But I know she's excited. She's in the process of making some changes in her life, so she's excited for that. But this weekend will be a very quiet weekend for the most part. I mean, I know we have somebody stopping tomorrow, but that doesn't involve me as much. And so I'm gonna take the dog for a nice long run in the morning. And I promised him, because this morning I took him out into I usually walk him on Fridays, but this morning I got up a little extra early because I got to go into work late since we were at the golf tournament. And I took him out to the country and let him run, and which he was excited about. And then my daughter stayed home until she had to leave for the airport, and she let him out a little bit. And Mama didn't get home till 5, so this is the first time he was home that long by himself, without anyone stopping. Because usually on the golf tournament days, I try to run home at lunch and let him out. But because she let him out at 10:30, I didn't come home. He was so good just waiting for me at the door. So I promised him tomorrow we go for a really long time in the morning. And then I have I have a Brutus Monroe order at the post office that I forgot to pick up before I came home. I know, shocker. So I need to do that. So this does need to go on a card base yet. And because it's A2, it's going to fit perfectly. I'm just going to stick it on there for right now. I'll glue that on after. But I feel like we need a few gems to kind of make it extra fun. And the one last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to grab, this might not be, I don't know if I can find it. It's not shimmery. I'm going to grab my gilded shimmer splash, which I believe might be. Oh, thank you. They're super fun. And like I said, this die set, and then the printable is only $5. And it is awesome because you can print it as many times as you want. And it was very easy. I printed like 4 off the bat right away, colored them up. It was so nice to have everything done and ready to go. And then just color them, and they cut beautifully, and they're fun. And it's a fun boy birthday party that, makes some fun cards. And you can add them with some of the other products we have, and it makes it just real fun. And then of course I have this still, and it's kind of fun because there's you're my favorite little Dino. What are the under sentiments? I lava you, which is really fun to use with this. And you could use some of the glazes and stuff to kind of make it flowing out. I was trying to figure out I was going to try to figure out how to make a big like volcano with some of our glazes, but I didn't think we'd have time during a live for that. So I'll have to do that on its own. But I'm going to add just a couple of gems just because I think it's fun. Add some extra sparkly fun. Let's see what I got here. I don't think I have any purple. Not really any purple, is there? Blue shift. Oh, there's a violet shift. We'll use those because they're purpley black. I couldn't remember. And we'll throw a few fun pearl gems on them because sparkle on them. When you're having a birthday card or holiday card, you need extra sparkle. I'm just going to add a couple right here. There's 3 here, and I'll put 2 up here. And then I think we'll put a couple here. And I think I do 1, 2, and 3 there, just for fun. I don't think too hard. If you're struggling with where do you gem placement, Sarah on her video on Monday, she showed how she kind of just takes like sequins and kind of just drops them, like especially like on a scrapbook type page. You can also do that here. I just find that I just take three, start with three usually, put them somewhere, and then add a couple more somewhere else. I just put that gem on upside down. Um, and that just makes it fun to, um, odd numbers. That makes it best. Don't think too hard about it. I think the harder I think about it, then I usually don't like how I did it. And you can always move them over a tiny bit when there's, sorry, got stuck on my glue, with like a pick. We got our placement tool, which I love our placement tool, but I'm just used to my big pokey tool. I just like that. And the other thing that's nice about this is you get the extra glue. You just go in there and wipe it off. But you can move it over just a hair. Yeah, see, I'll show you. This is awesome to pick gems up with too. This is our Christopher signature. I don't know if it's a pick and place tool or a sticky tool. I don't know the perfect name for it, but they work great. So there we go, you guys. Added just a little sparkle. I'll put that on that card base. So those candles, which is hard to see on camera just to get a little sparkle, but we made a couple of fun cards, including this fun reveal card. And the hardest part probably was sitting down and coloring. But if you sit and color, you can zone out, watch a movie that you like, and or something you've ever done, or listen to a book on tape, get them die cut out, and then just add them to some fun backgrounds. So thanks, Penny. I think they're super fun. I kind of forgot about this set. And so when they were talking about the printable, I was like, oh my gosh, I got to get that out. I think this is fun. I really didn't play with it much. So thank you guys so much for joining me tonight. If you liked it, you can give me a thumbs up. If you make a card using this set, we're starting to use some hashtags. Like if you're inspired by Sarah, it's hashtag Make It Monday with Sarah. If you're inspired by the Men in Monroe, it's, hashtag Men in Monroe. Mine is hashtag Craft with Candy, or Crafting with Candy. I guess I don't, whatever I put in the thing, Craft with Candy. But I appreciate y'all. Thank you guys so much. Thanks, Cindy. Stamp coloring. You know what? There, look at. I have cheaters. I am one of the only person in my family that does not wear glasses. But now when I color, I wear the cheaters. But I literally, I'll have to show you. Let me go to the other camera. I literally have to do this so I can color. But then I close my eyes and I have to lift my head and then open them. But like right now, oh, I can't watch that TV. I can't look up. So I usually have them like bifocals so I can color and then I can look up above and watch my television because I can't look through them. So, but it's so helpful for coloring. Thank you, Kelly. I had a lot of fun. So I will see you guys all next week with something new and fun. And have a great weekend and a great week. We'll catch you next time. Bye.